What is going on, Reality Pop Nation, Reality Pop fans? Thank you for subscribing to this channel. Adam, who has put this channel together with the help of many people out there, has done a fantastic job of growing this channel, and I am glued to it every single week, as should you. And I am privileged and honored to be on this channel, podcasting with Adam and the likes of Gideon and Coach Drew, who you see behind me in their tier rank video. They are ranking every season of Survivor 1 through 40. But today we are here to talk about season 41. And excuse me for not introducing myself. My name is Justin, and I'm actually the host of the Poojie Podcast, which is a sports podcast. And Adam has been so gracious to allow me to jump on and talk some reality TV. We do Survivor, Big Brother, and we have fun with it. And we have our panel here to talk some Survivor. I'm going to open it up to everyone now. I mean, I am extremely excited to be here. We are in the middle of April, and we are inching ever so close to season 41 after going a whole year without one new episode in the fall for the first time in 2 decades. Where are y'all's heads at? What's going on with Survivor? Where are the excitement levels?
I gotta say, like, not having I did not realize how much Survivor impacted my life when I did not have it for that whole year. It was crazy. I'm so happy it's coming back. However they do it, whatever things they have, I just hope that it comes back strong, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, what's up, Reality Pop? Just want to introduce myself first. My name is Zach. Love to be on this pod with y'all talking about Survivor. Yeah, we've definitely missed this show. Can't wait for this new season to come back, season 41. We had such a great season 40. Everything got canceled and everything postponed, but happy to hear that it's coming back. So can't wait to talk more about it with y'all.
And Tichi, where are you at, man? What's going on? I love the hat, by the way. Great Poojie Podcast hat there.
Absolutely, man. Gotta have it. No, man, as a lifelong Survivor fan, man, I can't wait for the next season of Survivor, man. It just felt like forever, and just kind of take for granted having 2 seasons of Survivor every single year, and just how lucky we were. But I just say I can't absolutely wait till we get to our next Survivor season.
Right. I'm right there with you guys. I can't wait either. I mean, I've been watching old episodes. Reality Pop does a great job with past season highlights and moves of the week and top 10s. They do a great job. I love watching those and tuning in. A lot of fun stuff to do. And Zach, you mentioned season 40, Winners at War, that saw Tony come out victorious, his second time winning. We had all returners in that season. Is the hope, are our fingers crossed right now for an all newbie season? Is that where we're at?
I mean, me personally, absolutely. I mean, we just had the past champions come on. They did their thing in season 40. So season 41, I want to see new faces, new people, new strategies. It's going to be an entirely new game with probably a few restrictions that they might be placing compared to past seasons. So, yeah, definitely would love to see new faces on this one, and I think that's what we're going to get.
And I think what's so funny is I remember the finale, Jeff Probst, who we all know and love, he made a call to action to all the teenagers, and it almost felt like a subtle grab to kind of get the next generation, the next wave of Survivor contestants in, right? Like we saw Ozzy grow up. We've seen so many people grow up, Boston Rob, even Tony, so many others grow up before our eyes from mid-20s, early 30s into their late 30s and so on. And it really genuinely feels like season 40 kind of closed the book on one generation of Survivor. And now season 41, especially after COVID, is opening a new book to a new generation, hopefully bringing in some new faces to kind of even grow this brand of Survivor even more.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's kind of funny that you mentioned the teenagers whole thing, because I think kind of one of the seasons that we had at Fiji, since the next season's going to be at Fiji, I think it was Gen X's versus millennials or something like that. So wouldn't it be kind of a little crazy with all the, we already know it's going to be new faces, but wouldn't it be crazy that we had like a teenagers versus guys in their middle age and, older seniors or something like that type of season? That would be kind of freaky to have, but I don't know. It kind of made me thinking when you said that with teenagers,
Yeah, you mentioned Battle of the Ages. It's always a topic that I feel like they've done before, but it would be a cool one in the future to do. I could see them, and talking about new faces, there's so many different categories, things they can do. They have ages, they have, I know they've already done like working class levels, but I think that was actually a really interesting one they can do, because they always like Blood versus Water 2. They always do the second one. So I think that would be another cool one to like bring back for a second time, the working class ones. So what are some other ideas that like they can bring back? Honestly, another Blood versus Water, that'd be another cool, another Redemption Island. These are, but with all new faces. We definitely need to stick to that idea, I think.
And to piggyback off what you're saying, Nick, something that I could see them possibly doing, that you're saying that they were talking about they had the past season where they went with blue collar, white collar. Maybe they do something where they make a team with nurses and first responders for COVID, kind of huge fans that have put themselves out there this whole past year doing their service for us. Maybe they get their chance at winning $500,000 or $1 million on Survivor.
Yeah, maybe Survivor doubles it into like a donation of some sort,
Oh, that'd be epic, actually. That'd be epic. And I know Fiji, they were kind of hesitant bringing production back, but then obviously they're welcoming it. What it does for that country's economy, I don't 100% know as far as dollar amounts go, but I know there's a reason that they produce in Fiji every season now, and Jeff Probst is extremely happy to kind of have that as the permanent location. I'm sure he has a nice suite out there somewhere, a nice Jeff Probst condo in the woods of the Fijian Islands. But it's going to be fun. Zach, you brought up a fantastic point. When we started doing this podcast, first thing my mind went to was, how can we do something for the first responders, the frontline heroes, the nurses? I think that would just be a tremendous, tremendous move. Not even a publicity stunt, even. Like, that just sounds like the right thing to do by CBS, a network who we know for the longest time has always kind of done those types of things to, shed light, I guess, to the society.
Yeah, for sure. And you could even split the teams up, nurses, doctors in one, firefighters, EMT, police officers in another, make another tribe, another group of frontline workers. I think it's something that they could definitely
the grocery stores, because that'd be
100%. Definitely those that were working in the fast food grocery stores, especially the big chains, because they didn't get those days off. They couldn't go sit inside and dine in, but they could always take out.
Zach, as soon as you said police officers, I was like, that's probably the person who's going to win. Knowing the Survivor history, police officers. Yeah, absolutely. I was like, they're probably.
It's crazy to see like the and also the crazy number of Survivor fans out there that there would be able, if you were able to get someone from all those different jobs, like you can find a Survivor fan in almost anyone, and that also goes into the future of this show as well. Like, all those fans are everywhere. They could literally, this show can never, like, Jeff Probst hopefully lives forever, because the show could honestly go on with the number of people they have to make the show forever. I truly think.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some shows out there, like even Jeopardy with Alex Trebek. Like, there's shows out there, or Wheel of Fortune with Bob Barker, that when you take that host away from the show just, you don't even want to picture it without that host, because that host is so synonymous with the show, and that is Jeff Probst to Survivor. So I don't even want to begin to think about who's next or what's next after Jeff Probst. I know he's in his 50s, late 50s now, so it doesn't even show on TV. The sunlight's been pretty good to Jeff Probst.
I bet he used a lot of sunblock.
Have you guys ever gone back and like watched the early seasons of Survivor?
I have done that, and that is crazy. I literally, after quarantine started, I started with season 25 and just watched all the way up to like what I'd most recently started, because I started watching around season 30, I think, 30, 32, 33. So I went back 25, watched all the way to 32, and I was like, oh, that was quick. Then went all the way to 10 and watched all the way to 25. So I got I did this over 2 months. It was literally crazy the amount of Survivor I watched. And it was cool to see Jeff Probst's early age. It was cool to see the show age, like starting from, they didn't do tribe swaps. Tribe swaps wasn't a thing, to all these things. And there's just so much that has evolved. And it only shows like this show's going to get so much better. they take the little things and continue like fire tokens. I bet that's going to be something that is implemented in future. I hope that's something that's implemented in future seasons.
I wonder,
Yeah,
though,
and-
like, I'm not gonna lie though, that I wonder if they can kind of go back to the basics. Like, I wouldn't mind them for like the first 4 vote outs being like, you know what, we're gonna do, normal Survivor, no Immunity Idol for now, no this, no that. Work on your relationships, work on building your camp, your tribe up. Let's get back to a basic Survivor season, and then throw all that stuff in mid-season instead of just throwing. I don't know. I think I'd like to kind of maybe see something like that. But
I think you're onto something. Maybe just Survivor back to basics. Maybe that's just the theme of it. And it's just
there you go. That's a
basics.
title right there. Survivor, back to the basics.
Survivor, back to the basics. And like all of us as fans, we've been so caught up in so many things that we want to see continue, and maybe some things that we don't want to see continue, i.e. Redemption Island. But some, back to the basics. You take all these fans that have been watching. Yeah, right. The auction. And you have all these fans that have been watching for the last 5-10 years that know the game with all these twists. Well, then throw them into a game where there's not all these twists. Like, I would love to see everything just hit the fan. Well, it's interesting to think about the future of Survivor. We're not doing top 10 videos. We're not doing best of videos. Obviously, Reality Pop has plenty of that. To be honest, fans out there listening, subscribe to this channel and go check out those videos because they are amazing. And I love voting for them. I love watching them, and they do a great job. So many talented people a part of this channel. But I do want to ask you guys, when you look at the game of Survivor, you have the physicality aspect of it, you have the strategic aspect of it, and you have the social aspect of it. If you had to rank those 3, 1 to 3, and even let's go a step further. You have a pie, okay, 100% of the pie. What percentage of each of those is most important to that pie to put together the perfect game to win? Zach, I want to start with you because you're thinking a lot.
All right.
I mean, that's extremely difficult question. I think, I don't want to like push that question to the side, but it's so hard because I think it just is really based on the person.
There you go.
If you can't say that not everybody goes in there the same. The first thing you got to realize is what are your strengths. Somebody like myself, I feel like I would definitely put like the competitive aspect a little more than like a third of the way between the 3. I feel like I could put a lot there. But somebody like Sandra, that's gonna be 5% of her game, 5-10% maybe. But so it definitely for me has to revolve around the player. If it was me going in there, I think I would try to stick with very even across the board. You don't want to be 60% strength, but the only good thing about Survivor is that if you are 100% physical and you win every competition, you're fine. You'll make it to the end, but hopefully that wins you the votes at the end too. So
I was just about to say, you can win everything, you can get to the end, but then you need that social game to get the votes. So that's where that part of the pie comes in. It's like 100% can't be physical. It's, it's got to be a good balance, which is what makes this game so great. Nick, what about you, man?
And even if you do go all physical, you just lose. You lose one. If you make that all your game, lose a single challenge, it's like, oh, well, that guy wins every time. If he loses, like, when's he going to lose again? Knock him out now. So that's why physical can't be all your game. But people that make it that, if you have like a little bit of social, and this is like Zach said, it's all dependent on the person. Like that first, and it's sad to say, like, don't judge a book by its cover, but when you first get in there, some people are going to look at certain body types and be like, oh, that's a big person. He's going to win a lot of challenges. Let's get him out. Or I guess in the beginning, you're doing a team aspect. So like, let's keep him, like, they're going to be a strong aspect to our game. And then like, it's sad to say, but it's always like the small girls that are always one of the first ones. They're out. So like, they're going into the game sometimes with a different mentality than someone going in that's, Zach's stature and going to go in there to win challenges, So the pie, some people like cherry pie, some people like apple pie, some people like whipped cream, and pumpkin pie. So it all depends on the person. It truly does.
And it's funny you talk about like the strengths varying depending on the point of the season, because we've seen it so many times where they keep the Jeremys or they keep the stronger competitors when they're with the team because it benefits the whole team. And then gets down to the individual part of the game when they merge, and then it's, oh, crap. Okay, we know he's already a great player. Now his strength to him is working to his disadvantage, whereas 2 days ago it was his advantage. So,
and then when you tie that into your social game and your survival game, if you're a person who's, you know, a super strong guy, but you sit around camp and you're lazy, they're not going to want to keep you. You have to be going out there fishing and doing other things. If you're, you know, someone who's not a social, you're not, you know, you may not be able to talk someone into your side, but you could, you know, compete and get them in your side that way. Or you could, you know, get them fish. You feed them. Oh, now they're going to only be on your side. So there's different combinations of ways to make it further in the game. Just which one is most.
There's players that go out there and they say, all right, I'm just going to fish and I'm going to provide for my tribe. That way I'm irreplaceable. No one else is going to do it. No one else is going to put the effort in. So I'm just going to be the one to go out there and just take care of everything. Poojie, what about you, man?
Yeah, I think you guys are actually pretty funny, actually saying all that stuff, to be honest. Have you guys not watched Survivor the last maybe 10 seasons? The days of keeping your strongest players as a tribe and trying to win challenges, they don't do that anymore. Welcome to this new Survivor. It's insane that we all have this old school Survivor mentality. Of course, you're on a tribe, you keep the strongest guys, you vote off the weakest link, and you try and win immunity the next time it's up. But that just has not been the case a lot of times. And obviously, like you said, it's depending on the season, it's depending on the team, it's depending on their mentality. But it's interesting how many people would instantly go into that strategy. They go into that first tribal council. They might be a great team. It's like, you know what? They're already thinking it. Should we go and backside such and such strong player? Let's just go ahead and get rid of them. Let's just do it. We have the numbers. It's formed this little 3-person alliance because we had the likings of it. When we've seen this countless times before in the new era of Survivor, and I mean that's what makes Survivor so great, that you can't predict that it's going to be a season like that. But like I said, it's depending on the person, depending on the season, all that jazz. So yeah. And
you say the word blindside, and I think it's so funny. That word has gotten so saturated over the last few seasons. Sometimes CBS will put up #blindside on the screen. And maybe for us as fans,
they get really over with it.
Yeah, for us as fans, it's like that wasn't a blindside. We saw it coming the whole way. Maybe in the game because you're not watching the telecast and you don't know what's happening. Maybe it's a blindside to you. But blindsides now don't necessarily seem as blindside as they used to be when someone was just completely blindsided, taken off guard. They thought they had the whole thing figured out, and the next thing you know, it wasn't. And that's the definition of a blindside to me is someone sitting there thinking they have control of the whole vote, and then it doesn't go their way. Not necessarily a strong player. I think blindside sometimes gets misused as a strong player went home, right? I think it's more so the person that thinks they had all control over the vote, whether it was a strong player or not, they get blindsided. They hadn't heard their name once at camp. Maybe they didn't get mentioned at all. They end up going home. I think that's a blindside. I actually want to get back to that, to be honest. And sometimes I wish Survivor maybe didn't show everything on TV. Sometimes when I'm sitting there watching Tribal, sometimes I wish I didn't know someone had an immunity idol or an advantage. And I want to be sitting at home feeling like I'm there. Oh my God, what just happened? This is insane. This is crazy. Sometimes I wish some things were kept from the viewers.
Well, to go off that, that's something that puts Survivor, in my opinion, and you guys know how big of a fan I am of Big Brother, but Big Brother, you could watch literally everything they're doing. So by Thursday, and when they have their eviction, you absolutely know what's going on. Big Brother, the blind side in Big Brother is only for the players. It is not for the fans anymore because you see everything. Survivor, at least they do have that small aspect. They could definitely take away some things for the viewers, but it's not live, so we really don't know what's going on. And that's something that I do like about the show, that we just don't know what's going on. We can't see, we're not there all the time. So the blind side is definitely a lot stronger there than you might have it in Big Brother.
Oh, for sure. It's 100%. Like Big Brother, I feel like is a little bit more predictable when it comes down to it, simply because it is on longer and they have the 24-hour cams. And sometimes when I'm watching Survivor, I do wish that show had it. Like, to be perfectly honest with you, I'd probably be more inclined to watch a few hours of off-script Survivor than I would of Big Brother. I know in Big Brother there's a lot more negotiations going on, backdoor stuff like that. But Survivor, I feel like 1 hour on a Wednesday night doesn't do enough for me. Like, it just doesn't do enough for me. Like, I'm always wanting more, and maybe that's just the fan in me. I do just want to see more. Maybe hopefully they get there one day where they are showing more live feeds or showing maybe two episodes a week. I don't know. Teachy, go for it, man.
I'm gonna say, man, who wouldn't love to see like Tony or just some great idol finder throughout history, and you'd be like, all right, I'm logging in whatever time zone, and then boom, you're watching them go, from one spot on the island, one spot to the next, and then boom, you see that live. Like,
I like that. Like they pick up a GoPro.
Yeah, absolutely. Have them all have some sort of GoPro or like something. I mean, imagine that. How you have, like I said, in Big Brother. Obviously, you can do that in Big Brother way more easily, but I couldn't imagine having something like that in Survivor. Watching someone find something very valuable live, and
like
all that
not even on Wednesday night, but like live. Tony walks out of the shack and picks up a selfie stick with a GoPro on the end and says, "All right, guys, I'm going to go out into the woods and see what I can find. Everyone else is sleeping." And like, you're literally sitting there watching it as he's doing it. Like, that would be amazing. That'd be amazing. Zach, you're laughing, but that would be a lot of fun.
That would be funny. But the thing that I was wanted to point out was that we had an hour. Like, usually for the finale of Survivor, you get an hour, 2 hours sometimes. But the finale for the season during COVID, because there was no big audience after the show, that hour was left for an extra hour for us to watch Survivor.
Yeah.
And that was it a 2 hour or 3 hour? It was a 2 hour episode.
I think it was 3 hours.
Was it 3 hours?
I feel like
it was 3 hours, right? I think I remember it being. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I feel like I remember it being 3 hours, and that was an extra hour of us getting to watch them play, and that is exactly what you're talking about. It's just an extra hour in the week. I would love that. They have the content. They can definitely show us.
Exactly. It'd be a lot of fun. I want to get to this real quick because one of you mentioned fire tokens. So with fire tokens, we touched on this on an episode of Reality Pops on the channel, but I wanted to ask you guys, fire tokens, should that be used as similar to immunity idols where it's in every season? Do you think fire tokens should be, brought up every few seasons, kind of like Redemption Island? Or like, what's your stance on the fire tokens? We've only seen one season of it, so we haven't really got a full grasp of how it's used as Survivor currency. But what are y'all's kind of amateur feelings or just presumptive feelings of the fire tokens?
For me, I liked the idea of it, especially last year, especially because it was past champions, so it gives them something even new to work with. But I really wouldn't want to see it every season. I'm pretty old school. I would be so down for back to the basics thing. I am a fan of a Redemption Island where you could fight your way back in. I've been a fan of that on this show for Big Brother. That's something that I do like because it adds that extra element of, dang, we just screwed this guy over, and now he's about to win and come right back. Like, you got to really think, should we send this guy out? Like, should we send out somebody strong that's probably going to wipe through the competition when they're over there and then come back in? So that's something that I would definitely, I'm a big fan of. Fire tokens, though, I really wasn't. I liked it last season. I could see it maybe once every 5 seasons, but not every season for me.
But Zach, if you really think about it, the only way you can have fire tokens is if you have the extra exile island. I mean, you think that the tokens are meant to be collected and have over a long time. They're not meant to find 1 or 2 and then cash them in. That's kind of just an immunity item. You find that one special thing, you get it. The tokens are meant to be collected and get as many as you can get. And the only way you can ultimately really collect them is to have the extra Exile Island portion of Survivor, so that even if you are eliminated, you can still somehow collect them up. And Nisa, I'm not really the biggest fan of them either, but I think that really is their thinking. If the only way that they're going to have fire tokens is to also have to have the Exile Island portion of it to be able to collect them, in my sense.
I don't think you entirely need the Exile Island per se. I mean, I'm not like here. I want them. I don't want them. I could really care less. But I thought they were interesting, and you don't actually have to have the exile. I think if you had them where I have 2 or 3, you can offer them to trade. Like, oh, I'm on the block this week. Like, I'm 100% on the block. That's Big Brother. If I'm going home, I'm on the hot seat, and then someone has 2 tokens, or you have 2 tokens, you can offer to someone to buy like an immunity or buy a reward or an advantage to the next
Buy their vote.
immunity, buy their vote. Maybe I'll give you these 2 tokens. You vote for me this night, and then 3 weeks down the way, those tokens were allowed that person to buy this amazing advantage or amazing immunity, and still voted that person out anyway. Like, the tokens they don't have to solidify anything. They could, who knows? There's so much they could do with it. I love when they take ideas and see what people like and expand on them, because Meter Idol started off as like, you knew when they had it, and like you had to read it after the vote, and like it made things so much like more impossible. Yul had it that one season where he used it. He basically made it all the way to the end because everyone knew he had it and he could read it after the votes. Then they made it you had to do it before the votes and guess who the votes are going to go on. As that made it stronger, they changed it. So who knows what they changed with the fire tokens? Maybe they keep it and do something cool with it.
Yeah, I think there's like still so much to be discovered about the fire tokens for a few reasons. We've only seen it for 1 season. And like Zach mentioned, it was with past players. So they were trying to incorporate the fire tokens into their gameplay, whereas they weren't necessarily adapting their gameplay to the fire tokens. So like, what happens when a new person comes in that doesn't really have a gameplay, they've never played Survivor before, they're just trying to pave their way, and they say, oh, wow, like I'm not that physical, I can't really compete, but I can actually use these tokens to maybe advance my social game, or use them more as strategy. And I think that's kind of where like the depth of the fire tokens really become valuable.
You know what you could also do, Justin?
Yeah.
You can be, like I said, you use it for the social aspect, and that if you use the same method of what Survivor just did, is that after every single person got voted off, they're like, okay, who wants my coins? I'll give it to X person. So if you're not a physical person, you could just rely on being so good socially and have everyone give you their coins at some point. And then at one point you're sitting there, maybe you haven't won a single challenge, but you're like, I got 12 coins here. I can cash and I can do something with this,
Yeah,
exactly. Boiling. He hates everything we're saying.
Well, yeah, TT came at us because the past 10 winners were all social guys. So it seems like the game is going toward that. So let's bring the game back to where it should be, where it's a mix of both. And that's where that redemption island, if you have that, you send somebody out that's physical, you know what? Well, get ready, because they're going to be beating you and showing you why they deserve to be there. And they're going to be on a roll. They're going to get back in. And then it seems like a lot of the things they keep adding is just helps like your social game more. Or like I want some more like physical competition type. And yeah, we have that every week for the immunity and all that. But some twists that could help,
like some endurance competition.
Yeah, but that I think in all those endurance comps, like I mean, the only time it might get screwed is like a puzzle at the end. But I definitely think like maybe a twist that'll help these the more physical players, because it seems like the physical players, like, yeah, you want to be you want to have a little bit of everything, but at the same time they throw people in there that they know are not going to be physical, and there's people that they throw in there that they know are going to be physical. So you got to kind of help those guys out, the physical ones, because if they don't win that comp, they're really on the hot seat way more than like a little dude over here, the weak link. So
like David, or like those type of people.
I was gonna say like Ian, but I was thinking like a Big Brother player. I didn't want to like go after any Survivor player like Cochran, but he won. So.
Cochran, yeah, I guess you gotta say Cochran. You're gonna say that.
Honestly, David is like, I love how he was. A couple seasons later, did David versus Goliath. I don't know if it was inspired by him because he was literally the tiny little guy that made it so far, and I loved his play. He was, but that's the social player, the type of players that I like to watch, the ones that the underdogs, I guess.
Yeah, no, I mean that's the beauty of Survivor is anyone can really win it. We've talked the physical comp beast, we've talked social game people. Sandra, like Zach mentioned, she's won twice, and her physical game is not necessarily up there with the top by any means, and she still found a way to make it work. Would you guys be? We talked about Redemption Island, Exile Island, all that. Do you think Survivor could like trend in the direction of making Redemption Island a permanent thing and actually creating a second show every week about Redemption Island? So do like their Wednesday night show about the main island, but then like maybe the second. Is there enough content that they could find on Redemption Island, whether it was fire tokens, challenges, and almost make it like a cast-off normal island of people competing to try and get back in? Is that even something to think about, or?
I absolutely think so. I mean, considering the most recent season, you had Natalie was the very first person voted out. She sat there the entire time. Excuse me. The season that she won, I think,
Mm-hmm.
She was first voted out and sat there the entire time, came back at the very last time, and then won it all. So, I mean, there has to be.
Tony won that one.
Tony was that. Okay, yeah, I didn't want to.
You're thinking of when Chris came back and beat Devin.
Yeah, you're thinking of Chris. Yeah, Chris
bringing back and beating Devin. But even Natalie did great too. She did that.
Yeah, Natalie made it to final three. Is what?
Yeah, that was true. Yeah, she was first one voted out and came back and made the final three.
Yeah.
So you can do something with that.
Yeah, I feel like if they don't want to. All right, so let's be real. The episode we watch on Wednesday night is pretty much just like a highlight tape of the week of Survivor. Like, that's fine. It's a highlight tape. It shows, the producers and the editors, they cut who they want to be on TV and who they think the fans want to see and all that stuff. But it's like, okay, maybe they can't do 2 episodes of that, but maybe let's make Redemption Island more meaningful for the viewers, because the last thing I want as a Survivor fan is to watch every week, Wednesday night, the main island, and then at the very end, someone like Chris come back, win it all, and I know very little about who he is, what type of player he is, what he did on the island, except for a few snippets here and there about, who he is.
I get what you're saying. But honestly, I think they could do 2 episodes. I know you're talking about Redemption Island, but I think they can do 2 episodes of normal island. That could easily be done. I think there's so much talk, there's so much information that we don't get that they easily could have done. Redemption Island, the first couple, they're going to struggle doing an episode very beginning when 1 person's there, 2 persons there. Like, how long can you show an hour of them being there? But then it could be interesting once you get further on and you have the 6, 7 people there, and they're running around the island looking for the gold, like whatever is hidden there and the mysteries. And yeah, you can make an episode of that, but early episodes would struggle with that. Maybe if they kicked it off when they made 3 people or 4 people there. But I still think they can do 2 episodes a week of information, challenge, like add more challenge. Well, maybe not add more challenges. People are tired. They use a lot of their energy. But I don't know. They can definitely do 2 hours worth of stuff, I think. Camp life, building forts, going for fruits, talking.
I'm going to have to disagree with you guys. And the reason I think is because it's usually like we see 39 days. I think what they show in that hour is probably like a day or 2 of things. And I think we think that camp is going crazy. I think a good portion of the day they are just resting, trying to just rest up for the next competition, for them to go search out for things. I really think in like what they show in those hours is all they could give, because there's times in those hours you're like, oh, can we just get to the vote? Like, I mean, like we're saying, like we're already like, oh, like we know who's going out. Like, let's just get to the vote. Like it would be tough to consistently put out a second episode every single week. So maybe they could do something where it's like an add-on, like with CBS All Access or something. They could do an add-on if you want to watch more. Go here, but I think it would be very tough to get to knock out a cable television another hour on a Thursday or something.
Which now that I think about it, didn't they used to have an episode dedicated to the behind the scenes type? It was just one episode, but it was right before the finale, I feel like, or something like that. And it would just be an episode of leading up to the finale. Here's what happened, but here's a little extra,
So that episode, everyone always hated that. Well, I don't know if people always hated that episode, but I get what you're saying. That episode was one episode where they would give you bits throughout the season.
But was that, and that would they do the fire torching, right? They were
they changed it. They evolved it. It was at the beginning, or not the beginning, but they mixed in the walk where they would go up and collect each person's thing as they voted out, and then they also had the episode where they would literally do recap of oh, you heard about this, but and then they give you a little bit more information about what went into that decision. Instead of doing one episode of that, though, I think if they gave us that information when it was happening in every week, on top of you're saying yes, a lot of time of them sitting around doing nothing, but I think that's almost interesting. For people that are outdoorsy type cool people, I wouldn't mind seeing how they built their fort, or how they went had to hide for catching a squirrel or whatever. I don't know. I think that kind of be interesting to throw together an hour of that, mix in with conversation that you're right that they show a lot of it, but I still think there's stuff that they can, not an hour's worth, but again, mixing in a little bit of that with a little bit of camp life, with a little bit of, all those other things I've been talking. I think they can do it. I think it can happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's whatever direction they're heading. I know it's an exciting one because it's back for season 41. Production is going to be starting here soon. I know all the crew is heading out there to Fiji to get on the island and quarantine and get ready. And hey, by the way, quick question: do you guys think we're going to see any masks this season on the island at all?
Oh man, that's going to be.
I don't think from the players.
Is Jeff Probst going to be wearing a mask?
It's going to be interesting. Because he's not going to be living on the island, so he's technically not going to be social, quarantined, or maybe they're all going to be in their own bubbles in their production team. So maybe I really don't see. You know what? I'm going to say no. I say he's not wearing a mask just because.
Yeah, I would say no. Yeah. I think everybody that's going to be there is probably going to be vaccinated by then, because they probably have already started shooting, or they might begin shooting. So the vaccine's been out for a few months now. I think they could definitely kind of push those people into the front line and get them quickly in there to shoot their episodes.
Well, that was going to kind of be my next question, was about, do you think at any point in the new season anything is going to be thrown off because of COVID? Will there be because of COVID, this person had to leave, or because we can't do this, we can't do that? Or do you think when we watch this, it is going to be 100% looking like a normal Survivor season, and COVID will not even be a thought regarding the season?
So I think anything that does happen, good chance it's not going to be mentioned. So if they have a reward plan and it's that town got raided with COVID, they closed. Raided. I doubt they're going to be yeah, my bad. This is an infestation of COVID. I don't know, breakout. They're not going to be oh, because of COVID, we're not going. I think it's just going to be they're not going to air it. They're not going to say it. It's just going to be in the background.
I can see that.
With Big Brother of the last season, I think they wanted to do and should have done a lot more. There's expect the unexpected. She said that literally once or twice the whole season. And they didn't. There's so much more that could have been done if COVID didn't affect. So maybe we see the same thing on Survivor. It's time passed. It's on an island. Who knows?
All right. So my second question to you guys is: typically they record 2 seasons back to back. Zach, did you have something?
Yeah, I was just going to say I definitely think COVID's going to be mentioned in this season. I feel like it's going to be a top topic. And, God forbid. I like, you know how they always like try to touch on like heartstrings and everything and like make it tough. I'm sure there's going to be somebody on the show that lost a close family member probably to COVID, and they're going to hear that story. You're going to hear how there's probably going to be a nurse there
Everyone's
that
going to have
talks
a
about.
story.
Yeah, there's going to be like quite a few people, I think, that have like some sort of story. Maybe somebody with a close family member, somebody that worked the front line. I think that's something that should definitely be expected. And I'd be kind of disappointed if they don't do that, because I think it's something that should be spoken about. I don't think we should just hide behind the fact that these people are out playing this. Like that's always a good part of Survivor. When the players get to know each other on a deeper level and find out stories that nobody else would know otherwise.
And Survivor is also known for doing that. Like they have so many, I guess, controversial seasons where like having the races split up in 4 different islands, or old versus young, or like, the different, scandals that they've had in the past, like 3 seasons with, the what's his name, being all weird with the contestants that they ended up being kicked out. All these things that happen, like they always seem to be on what's happening now. And I think part of that is because you're taking people who are in it and putting them in a bubble to only interact with each other. So you're asking them to do it. So it's going to happen. Like it's part of
it's like magnifying, societal problems on an island. So whatever issues are out there in society, right there on the island, stuff is going to come up. And Survivor, it does do a really good job of bringing to light a lot of different social justice issues, societal issues, and things like that, like you mentioned. So where I was going was season 41 being recorded soon, production beginning soon. Do you think there's a chance that season 41 and 42 might be the same cast since they record back to back? Do you think they just do a Survivor, let's run it back season 42? They know they have the guys. What's up?
That would be a crazy idea.
All I'm saying is this: we've gotten so used to, newbies, old bees, whatever, return players, Survivor winners, things like that. Do you think there's like double or nothing? Like, all right, this person won this. Let's throw everyone back out there and do it again if they're down. I know it's a lot on the body, but they already have these 16 people that are healthy and ready to go to record. Do you think they just try and knock out 2 birds with 1 stone and just do two seasons at once?
As much as I think I'd like them to do something like that, because that'd be a crazy idea, I honestly think they'll get wrapped up finishing this one season. They'll probably stay on the island or stay somewhere near while they get the next ready level of contestants just ready to go. Bring them on maybe a month, maybe 2 months later. Use all the same areas that they just use, all of the same challenges. Just build whatever creative ideas that they have, and then just boom, knock out the 2 seasons just like that. Probably maybe with more brand new contestants, and hoping that 3rd season by now you can bring back a couple, 2 or 3 of these people that are really good or really well known.
Yeah, no, I like it. Go for it, Zach.
Yeah, you got 4 guys right here that I think if we got a call from Jeff Probst right now, we'd pop over there and do their 2nd season. So I don't think they're going to have trouble finding another 16 people. I mean, shoot me up right now with the vaccine. I'll head over to Fiji for a little vacation and try to win $1 million. I'm sure you all will feel the same about that too.
Let's get it going. And
I get my second dose Saturday. Woo woo.
I don't think there's a lack of people that would be down to do it. I'm thinking more so from a production standpoint of, okay, it's easier. We already have the people here. Let's do it. And to be honest with you, I think it would kind of be like a welcomed twist to the viewer of, okay, we know how all these players play. Let's see them do it again and see if it can happen again. Just like in the NFL with divisional opponents, you play each divisional opponent twice. There's a reason for that. Let's play it back. Let's run it back. Who can do it? Who can do it back to back? Right? Like who can do it again? Go for it, Nick. Did you have something?
So here's an interesting twist off of that statement. You would think that you know how they play. But remember, if they're doing it right away, they're not having watched the season. Like we as fans, we'd be like, oh, we know how they're playing.
Oh, that's true.
And watching the second time, they know. But like if you were in an island with people, right, and you did normal season, you get voted off 3rd, 4th, 5th, whatever, right? And the person that makes it all the way to the end, that person that made it all the way to the end doesn't know that person that made it off, knocked off 4th, 5th, and vice versa. that person that made it out fourth, fifth doesn't know the final three, final four, final five. So if you told them, hey, they're running it back, I think that would be interesting because like you would know who won, you would know maybe how this person played here and there. Like if you're on a tribe, then you know that person for real. Like we were, but I think it would actually be a really interesting concept. I think if they mixed it up into like new tribes, like threw a whole new thing together, that'd actually be interesting. I think
we've seen returnees come back and a few seasons between their seasons, and they get to know the Survivor community. But I'm talking like straight up back to back, no getting to know each other outside, no getting to know their families. Let's just get this thing going back to back. Let's do it. Why not?
Physically, that'd be very difficult. I feel like physically, I don't know if it would be able to be done. Especially like, again, we're going back to the skinny people. We're going back to the big people. Like people, they in their head, like, right, 39 days, I'm going to starve, I'm going to whatever. And then like, imagine if Jeff Probst, like if that was a twist at the end of the season, like we're doing it again. Like, ooh, damn, I'd be like, I don't know. Like right now, like.
I see rumors with a shorter season coming up, so who knows? But I don't know. But I think it's just too much on the body, really, to do it back to back. That's pretty crazy.
CBS, fork up $5 million. Let's do it for $5 million. Come on, let's make it happen. Last advantage I want to get to real quick before I ask my final question here. I want your thoughts on this final advantage that I want to implement in Survivor, and it's called the all or nothing chicken foot. And I am a big Prison Break fan. Teachy's a big Prison Break fan, I know. And in the third season of Prison Break, they're in Sona, they're in the Mexican prison, and there's a chicken foot. And pretty much what that means is if you have beef with someone, you throw down the chicken foot at their feet, and you fight in the courtyard to the death. Now, I'm not saying that in Survivor, but what I'm saying is you throw down the chicken foot at someone that you really don't get along with or that you really want out of the game. You go to a competition, you battle them one-on-one, no one else involved. It's you versus them. You don't know what the competition's going to be. Winner stays, loser goes home. Thoughts on that, on the chicken foot?
That is interesting. But how often would it be able to be implemented?
You have to find the chicken foot or buy it with fire tokens. It's not not everyone can have the chicken foot.
Okay, so that was where I was getting at. It was just like a twist. It's like every week I was like, it would cut the season in half. So if you made it a thing where someone found it one time and they used it one time, and you know what, I think that's actually kind of dope. I think
maybe you do the chicken foot, but then you also do more returnees from Redemption Island. So maybe you do both. So you do the chicken foot, but then maybe every 3 weeks someone comes back from Redemption. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of like let's just totally put this thing together and blow it up. Chicken feet.
Dude, I think it would be totally ballsy just to have some guy that just goes out there and finds it like 3 times and is just like a competition beast and it's like, you know what? I'm going right at you right now. Boom. Knock your ass out. All right. Boom. Very next episode. Boom. I mean, just to see, have a guy just do something like that. I think that'd be fantastic. Something like that,
Good TV, Zach. What about you? Are you a chicken foot guy or no?
Dude, that's nice concept. I like the creativity, but I think that's hilarious. I mean, I feel like there'd be like that one guy that just finds it constantly and is always ready, and his anger is going to be like there. He's going to have like I can't even think of the past players that would do it, but there's going to be those guys that just go absolutely haywire with it and try to go after the worst people. So I don't really see that happening, but it would be a cool concept. I think we could work with something. I like the name too.
I like the subtle note to Prison Break again, using the word haywire. I mean, it just doesn't get any better than this. Here we are talking about Prison Break characters, haywire. Who knows? Like, this is crazy. We're off the rails.
Something.
Yeah, right. Last question for you guys. Very last question, I promise. Thanks for doing this again. Special exclusive episode from the Poojie Podcast on the Reality Pop Network. I want to ask Nick first, what direction do you want to see Survivor head? And I know that's a very open-ended question, but just your vision for Survivor, kind of, do you want to see it trend in one direction or another, more competitions, more social? Just what direction do you want to see it head?
Man, you did throw that on me real quick. So like I said, I like the idea of
use the chicken foot. Throw it on someone else, Nick. Use the chicken foot.
No. I'm ready for it. I was prepared for your answer mentally somehow. Remember before I already said I would love to see more of. I'm a Boy Scout at heart. I wasn't a Boy Scout at all, but I feel like I should have been growing up because I love outdoors. I love the trees. I love hiking. I love seeing like that building a fire. So I would love to see more of that in shown on the show, like how they built their shelter, how they went into the fort, like the things that they're talking about or learning and seeing animals, stepping on a jellyfish. I don't know, like the things that happen that how they get their clean water, because I know sometimes they have to siphon it through the rain or whatever. There's so many things that I feel like survival wise they could show that I wish that they showed more of, just because, hey, as a future wannabe contestant of that show, anybody really, I guess you'd have to look up how to survive before. I feel like if you go on Survivor with no survival skills, you're very, very, you're starting off on a step down, because you have to know what you're doing in some way, shape, or form. And that's what I think I would love to see more of.
I love that. I love that idea. I think Adam with Reality Pop needs to bring Bear Grylls on here to the channel and create a surviving Survivor channel on this podcast. And he just talks about what you can and can't eat, how you start fires, how you clean water, how you catch fish with a stick, and do all that stuff. Like that's not bad. I actually like that a lot. Teachy, what about you, man? What direction do you want to see Survivor head?
I think we kind of already touched base on it a little bit, but I love it just to kind of initially just go back to the basics. Just have the normal stuff. You would see more of the how does a camp get put up? How do they start the fire? How do they get fishing? Like I said, just for the first 3 or 4 vote outs, you get the sense of who are the hunters, who are the people who can start fire, because we know that's important. We know the people who can start fires on their own and build all the stuff like that. We know that's important. And then pretty much just every week after that, introduce a little bit of something, and just make it just more just of a mystery after that. But like I said, I think we already touched on it. Just get back to the basics initially, and then just make it, whatever you want it to be every week after that.
I like it. Yeah, I think honestly the evolution of Survivor has been what's kept all of us there. I think, always introducing something new. But I feel like we're at a point in the show where it's been new for so long that, okay, back to the basics might not be a bad thing. Like, let's see some of the purity of the game and not all these advantages and twists and all that. So I do like it. Zach, what about you, man? Direction. Sorry I made you third.
Before we go to Zach, I just want to jump off of Zach Teachy's idea real quick. The thing about the going back to basics would be interesting. These people in the mindset of new Survivor, of this whole new twist craziness, everything's going to happen. So I think it'd be interesting to see that, like, with their mindset of things are going to be crazy, to go to a back to the basics where, it's actually not going to be all these twists and craziness. And then having to be like, with the mindset of this, having to adapt to this, how's it going to work? That would be interesting, actually.
Yeah, that's kind of like what I mentioned a little bit ago was you take all these new school fans that have seen so many twists, you throw them in the game with 0, and they're out looking for hidden immunities, and they're at reward challenges looking in the napkins for hints as to where different advantages might be.
There's nothing.
They're literally doing nothing to advance their game except look like idiots to the viewer. So, Zach, you're third. Go for it. What direction do you want to see Survivor head?
All right, so it's going to be touching on what Teachy was talking about with back to the basics, except this is going to be the physical aspect of back to the basics. Right now, a lot of the competitions are obstacle courses with a puzzle at the end or balancing something. I want brute force. I want, throw the ball into the middle where it's in a puddle of mud and have 3 6'2" dudes coming at each other and just knocking each other out, trying to score a goal while the girls are shooting baskets at the top, and you constantly switch it out. I remember old school Survivor having those competitions. I'm sure they took it out because a lot of people were getting hurt. Injuries. But my God, I don't care about injuries. You're out there. This is Survivor. Let's go. Let's do it.
You can get injured walking down the street for free. You might as well get injured playing Survivor for $1 million. Let's do it.
There's always somebody that gets carted out for a heat exhaustion or not enough dairy in their system. I don't freaking know, but let's get some damn brute force competitions back. I want some punching, some tackling, some kicks to the shin. I want that back.
There we go. All right, we got the aggressor Zach here. If Jeff is watching this, Zach wants to be on the show to bring some aggression back to the show. I think he's calling you out, Jeff. But my
No. That would not be on my season. I'm cool with the balancing. I'm cool. I would just want to watch that.
I just want to watch people do that.
Or I could be the one shooting the baskets. Let me shoot the baskets.
There you go. Well, my answer is kind of what I hit on a little bit ago, just regarding I just want to see the new age of Survivor come in. I want to see the young, the teenagers, the young 20-year-olds come in and kind of start some character development with them and kind of create like a new era fandom of, all right, out with the old, in with the new. We're there. COVID was a decent break in the action right after Winners at War, mind you. So what a perfect season kind of before COVID. Bring in some young people, some newbies. I want to see like 4 or 5 straight new seasons of Survivor. Like newbies, no returners, just straight up new people, and let's find the best of the new era of Survivor. That's what I really want to get into. But guys, again, thank you for being here. Anything else from you guys before we head out for the evening?
I'm excited for Survivor to be back, baby. Let's go ahead, Zach. That's all I'm excited
Brute
about.
force competitions, CBS. Let's get that back in there. Let's get some sumo stuff while you're balancing on the water. Somebody takes a little, I don't even know, a pillow to the face. Let's do it.
Well, thank you so much for having us on, man. It was appreciated.
Yeah, no, this is awesome. This is great. Thanks for being here. And thank you to Adam for allowing the Poojie Podcast to breach the Reality Pop Network. Love being here. Nick has to give a shout out to his Reinforcements card game. Great card game, actually. Go check him out on Instagram, Reinforcements on Instagram. And go check out, hey, if you're a sports fan, we're sports fans. We're here doing reality TV. Go check out the Poojie Podcast on YouTube. Go subscribe for all sports news and discussions, debates, interviews. Great stuff on the Poojie Podcast. I would know. I run the channel. So go subscribe to the Poojie Podcast and go get yourself one of these 6 shirts to support the Poojie Podcast and Survivor because it's what we all love. Look at the hats. We got everything flying out there. Look at it. So appreciate you, Adam, for allowing us to do this. Reality Pop Network, thank you for having us on here, and Reality Pop Nation. Until next time, go make this world a better place. Take care.